So welcome to the third call of the New Coach Training, and I'm really excited to have you guys in here. And I know you guys are doing so well with your training. I think all of you here have got to at least Unit 4 or even further, I think, actually looking at all of you. So well done. And so really kind of just to kind of put the lay of the land down in terms of where you should be. Hopefully by now you've got your challenge group set up. You know what it's called, you've designed the visuals, you're talking about it in your stories, and you've actively started inviting people, and you are absolutely ensuring that everybody on that warm market list that you made, which I really hope is at least like 50 people, you've invited them, okay? Because if we make that list and then we're too scared to invite them, I'm going to be brutally honest and say this business won't work for you. Because if we're too afraid to share it with those nearest and dearest to us who already trust and know who we are, it's going to take an awful long time to build relationships with those people who are our cold market, who don't know us, who perhaps we're just inviting off Instagram. And I know I've mentioned it before, but I just, I want to be really clear. It's something that I see time and time again. The coaches that come in and see success initially are those who have asked everybody on their list. They may have been terrified, but they've done it. They've asked them, they've shared it. They've been sharing their kind of story on their Instagram stories, and they're posting every day, because that's building consistency even with your warm market. So if you've got any queries about that, let me know. But I know last week I spoke about ensuring that you've got that book, Get Over Your Damn Self by Romy. That's really going to be fundamental in that process if you're finding that piece really difficult. And I know for me as a new coach, I found that really hard. I want to be honest, guys. I found the warm market really hard to approach. I'd never done anything like this before in my life. I wasn't into social media. And had I not listened to that book as I was going through that process, you better bet I wouldn't have done it, and I wouldn't be where I am today, because I wouldn't have seen that success, and I would have given up, because I would have thought, oh, do you know what? This isn't for me. So really call yourself out. Like, if you've invited people and perhaps you've not had anyone join you, have you really invited everybody on that list? Have you written everybody down on that list? Or have you just kind of gone, do you know what? Here's 10 people I can ask. And you'll see, like, what's that's holding you back. 90% of your success is your mindset. If your mindset says I'm too scared and you hold yourself back, you'll never even get to the point where you could see that success. So just make sure you've got that book, Get Over Your Damn Self by Romy, and ensure that you're listening to your personal development, because they're both separate. There's professional development, which is Get Over Your Damn Self, and then personal development is something like You're a Badass or Girl Wash Your Face. It doesn't need to take you a great deal of time. Now, I listen to this stuff as I'm getting up in the morning, and I set myself a routine. And I know a lot of you guys will ask me, like, how's your routine? Well, I get up before Arthur's up. I typically get up around 5 a.m. I go to bed around 10:30, 11 at the latest, the lights off, so that I get at least 6 hours. And that's how I do my day, so that I can get that stuff done. Because if I don't get up early and I don't win my morning, which is what Arthur often says to me, mummy, if you won your morning, then you better bet that I'm going to set off my day on the wrong foot. And I wouldn't be where I am today had I not kind of established that routine. So the quicker that you can get into these habits with the business activity tracker as well, and you'll see I'm posting that in the team page every week. I do a giveaway every week. The quicker that you can start doing that, the quicker you're going to see success, because this business is built with consistency over time. And I actually did my income progression earlier on, and I'm actually really like looking at it, sitting down doing it. I can't actually even believe it myself. But then I think about what I've done to get to where I am today, and I'll genuinely tell you, there is nothing special about me. I have just remained consistent. I don't think I've ever missed a day posting on social media. And this might sound, weird, but for me, like, when mum passed away, it was something that I poured into. I got a great amount of strength from the coaching. It's one of the reasons I'm so unbelievably passionate about it, because it pulled me through my mum's death. And if it can pull me through that, then I'm like, I can help anybody with any kind of strife that they're going through in their life, no matter what that might be. And I just remained strong to my why and my vision even through that period. So I posted on my stories. I didn't share all of the stuff that was going on because it was too hard, but you better bet I showed up in my stories. I still did 80 Day Obsession. And that's why we're here today. We're going to talk about social media. And obviously that's a really fundamental, huge jigsaw puzzle piece of your success. And if you look at that business activity tracker, you'll see that a lot of it, the center part is really all social media, right? So you're going to initiate connections and followers. You're going to do a social media post each day. You're posting in your stories. You're sharing a bit of your daily life. Yeah, not all workouts. You're sharing your workout clips. You're using the product. You don't need to say what it is. I would encourage you not to, because it just creates curiosity, and it just creates more of a brand for yourself instead of just your brand being Beachbody. Inviting or calling to action, that would be like when you see me saying, like, if you want to join me, the door's always open, you can join me. Or it might be the visuals I've created. And for you guys approaching your boot camp, you want to be using those and talking about your virtual gym every single day, and just getting excited about it and sharing it. Because again, if you don't share that every day and you aren't creating some form of call to action in your stories every day, again, you better bet you're not going to fill that challenge group up. People need to see it over and over. And as a new coach, we sometimes feel like, it's too much, I'm kind of ramming it down people's throats. Well, actually, people who need a change actually need to see that, to finally prompt them to make a change, to finally prompt them to say, do you know what, I've been watching Gail or Alice or whoever for a while now, and she's talking about this, maybe she's got, if you show belief and confidence in what you have to offer and you keep sharing it, people are going to want to join you. And recognizing people, like when I recognize people in the team page, even if they're not, your direct like boot camper or coach, feel free to share it. Be like, oh, I'm so excited to be a part of this team. So much recognition and support, whatever that might be, because that shows the community. Okay, so that's what that recognition shout out piece is. It's really just showing the community. You'll see I'll often tag you guys if you're posting in my virtual gym. I'll tag you guys in my stories. And that was something else I wanted to just quickly touch on. It's not on the topic of social media, but remember to engage in my challenge group, guys. If you don't engage in my challenge group, when you set up your own, you're going to find it difficult because you won't be used to posting, right? And the whole point of a challenge group is to get our people results, which is why they've enrolled with us. So we really do need to show up in that capacity, and be that person. Like, I run challenges, you guys can win the challenges. In fact, Heather won one of the challenges the other week, but make sure you're doing that, because that's an absolute vital behavior as a coach, like showing up, sharing what you're doing, being a part of that community, leaning into it, not out. But with that social media, I just wanted to go on to say, really think about, guys, and this is something you might have heard in some of the training videos, your avatar, okay? And you might not have heard that word before, but essentially an avatar is something that makes you who you are, okay? Why are you different from every other Beachbody coach out there? Okay, and so that might be that you love wine, or like me, like someone will probably watch my stories enough to know I love gin and tonic. I also have dogs, and I love fashion, and I'm also quite outspoken, and I like to go for walks in the countryside. I'm kind of like country girl, not really a city girl at all, and that kind of is what makes me me. And also that I'm huge part of my personality personally is I'm hugely career driven. I'm really about, female empowerment. That's a huge part of my avatar, because that's who I am. It might not be who you are, but really think about it. And what you can do is just draw a mind map. So you can just do a circle and put some little legs coming out, and really just go for it. Like literally draw the legs, draw like 20 legs, I don't care. And just think about what makes me me over and above fitness. What makes me me? Why am I different? What are my people going to enjoy? Do I love reading? Do I love, flower arrangement? Do I like baking? Do I love to cook? Do I, some Beachbody coaches love to cook and they love to share recipes. And actually, I would argue that is an interest, right? I genuinely don't love making recipes. You'll see me post like bits of what I eat, but generally it's not that inspired, because genuinely I don't love doing it, okay? So I'm going to help my girls with their nutrition, but I'm not going to be the girl that's going to post all the recipes all the time, because it's just not a massive interest of mine. But if it is yours, then definitely share that, because that's just going to complement your coach piece. It might be that you're an ex-athlete, you love going running, you might be a runner, whatever it might be. Really think about that. And what you're going to do is do that mind map, and I would encourage you to do it tonight whilst it's fresh, so that you actually execute this task, because this is going to be what becomes your shop front, okay? And I really want you to think about your social media being your shop front. Your social media is your shop front, okay? If you haven't posted, your doors are closed, right? You've decided not to show up for work for the day. And I want you to get into that mindset of, this is my own business, but there is no way I'm going to build this life of freedom if that's what you want, if I don't create these disciplines for myself where I hold myself to account. And I'm sharing that with you because I was that coach that kind of drifted in. You know, I wasn't that strict with myself. Yes, I did a post every day. I definitely didn't do the bat every day. And it took me about 6 months until I wanted to realize for myself. And the penny dropped. And lo and behold, 6 months in, suddenly I just started to see this real success, because actually I decided, you know what, maybe my coach is right. Maybe I should do the tracker every day. And I just want to highlight that to you. Like, you can see success with this business as soon as you want, but you have to get disciplined with that social media piece. Okay. So this tracker does not take you all day. I was amazed today, and I just want to share that with you, with my social media side of being in my messages, which is my connections, which is where you should really be spending most of your time. Yes, I did a copy and paste message. You might have seen my live video in the Hustle and Heart team page. I did about 80 follow-ups in about 35 minutes, okay? Yes, they were all like copy and paste, changing the name, but they were a follow-up to let people know that my virtual gym was starting, and if I sent across my video, did they want to take a look? And I even like surprised myself. I was like, this is what happens when you get crystal clear on your time blocks. Arthur had gone to nursery. I haven't had that liberty for a very long time because of obviously COVID. Arthur's been around all the time. He's a busy, like, just 4-year-old. You can imagine he's into everything. And it really made me realize the importance of these time blocks where you literally give it your attention, and that's it. Sod the messages coming through, stuff it if Izzy's posted in the team page. I'm doing my follow-ups right now, or I'm doing my invites right now, and this is exclusively what I'm doing. And in your social media, I can promise you, those income producing activities of inviting, following up, connecting, they should take you max 45 minutes each day as a new coach right now. And if it's taking longer, I really want you to think about, when I'm doing this task, am I actually giving it all my attention, or am I actually thinking about something else that maybe I should have done to do with the coaching and going back to it and then coming back? Because that is going to make the tasks take double the time. And then you'll turn around to me and say, I can't do this in the time that I have. And you absolutely can, but you have to create those disciplines. So maybe you set timers. But coming back to that grid, sorry, I kind of went off on a bit of a tangent there, but I thought it was like, it's really timely because it's just something that I noticed today myself. Really think about that avatar, okay? And really think about, okay, on a Monday, maybe I'm going to share a bit about my lifestyle. Maybe I'm going to share a bit about who I am. Once a week, you want to share your story, okay? Maybe write that down. Once a week, you want to share your story, because what you're doing, obviously every week, you're getting new followers. People are engaging with you. If you're building connections every day, you've got probably at least 50 new followers a week. And they don't know who the heck you are, right? They don't know who you are. They've watched your stories, but you haven't told your story. They don't know where you've come from. They don't know your story. And if you look at my posts, generally you'll find probably twice a week, you'll get a piece of my story, right? You'll get that. Hopefully by now you guys will have seen that I was a corporate girl and I had the corporate grind and it burnt me out and I got anxiety and I wanted to be at home with my son. And also you'll get that my passion has come through the trauma that I've been through with my mum. Okay. And I will share that sporadically because I want to keep letting people in. And not only that, I want to keep reminding the people who are still liking my stuff and still telling me not yet, this is my story. This is my story. Because those people, their story may well be very similar. Okay. And it takes telling it quite a few times sometimes for someone to go, do you know what? Izzy's gone on about that story so many times, and I'm that girl, and I'm sick of looking at her posts about her story because I was that girl and I want to be her, right? And your story is completely different, you know, so just let them into your story. And it's really easy for me to say that. It's really easy for me to say that because I'm like over 2 years down the track. I'll tell you, to start with, sharing things like losing my mum was like the hardest thing on the planet. It was the hardest thing on the planet. It still is hard for me. And I remember a coach once saying to me, Izzy, you need to share more about your mum. It'll make it really relatable. And I just thought, you have no idea how hard that is for me to share that. And I didn't say it, but in my head I thought, you have no idea how hard that is for me to share, okay? And I don't want to push you to share stuff that you're definitely not ready to share if there's part of your story that's really hard. But I want you to start thinking about it, because I promise you, if you start to kind of let those raw edges out, the raw edges, the vulnerability, and I've mentioned this bit before and I put it in the boot camp, so I'm just going to mention it, maybe write it down. The Power of Vulnerability by Brene Brown. We build connections with people when we share our darkest corners of our story. And we talk about what it's done for our life. We don't say, oh, this was really awful and I'm still in a really dark place, right? That's That's not going to be inspiring, relatable, or in any way uplifting for anybody. And I'm not saying every single post should be uplifting, but people want to relate to your story and they want to be like, wow, I'm literally there now and I'm struggling so hard. But look at this girl who's doing this and look at how she's feeling now and what it's done for her life. Okay. That is where you build the most incredible connections, by repeatedly telling those kinds of stories. So they're all going to be different for all of you. I know you've all had your different struggles, right? So try and let people in, because that's where you'll find your people. Okay. Your Instagram should always release the positive hormones. Okay. When people go into your page, they should not feel cortisol, which is stress. They should not feel, I can't remember the other depressive one, but they should feel oxytocin and they should feel endorphins. Okay. So just think about that. Call yourself out. When I look at my page, does it feel like it's those emotions? Because people are going to be attracted to your energy, enthusiasm, and the emotion you give them. If they go into your page and they feel a bit depressed and it's talking about negative, and I don't think any of you are doing this, but it was something that was shared at Summit last year in one of the trainings that I was in by one of the top coaches. And I thought, that's so true. You know, yes, let people into your story, because I think you can't, it's not all about rainbows and unicorns. It really isn't. And I think people won't buy it. They won't believe it. But it is important to tell the story, i.e. this was a really dark place for me and this is where I am now and this is why I'm sharing it, kind of thing. Because people are then going to get it. They'll be like, I get why, you know, that person's really enthusiastic about what she does because of what it's done for her life. Okay. So once a week, tell your story, but really try to think about how you can integrate your interests into your posts. Okay. So I personally, my Instagram, you will see 6 times out of 7, I'm really pointing at the coach opportunity in some way, whether it's like, you know, subtle as anything or blatant as a brick. And it is really obvious that I'm talking about my business. And that's the way that I am in my social media. You'll find other coaches who do very ad lib, like relaxed posts. But my view is, if this is my business, it's my social media marketing business, I'm going to take every opportunity to sow a seed, every single one. Okay. So even if I'm like just having like talking about my hair looking a bit rough, there'll be something in there that's pointing at the coaching or the boot camp, because I'm subtly sowing seeds. Okay. So that was the moment that I started to really see success, where I was quite strategic about making sure, does this post sow a seed about coaching in some capacity? And you could, you know, for you guys, it might be about your boot camp. Depends where you are and what you're ready to do. Does this post sow a seed at my boot camp? That sort of thing. Okay. And then the other thing that I just wanted to say, because this is stuff that's really obvious to me, and I, you know, I think that's kind of the biggest challenge as somebody that's kind of where I am now, is remembering that you guys don't know everything, right? So when you do your social media posts, make sure that you use, sorry, my son's going nuts, and make sure that you use 29 hashtags. So when you use those hashtags, what's happening is you're really retargeting your audience. So you're finding your audience in social media. Sorry, he had a sleep when he finished nursery and now he's like not going to bed, which is a nightmare. So he's just in like the worst mood ever. So make sure you're using hashtags, again, that are specific to you and your kind of person. Like, again, do you love floristry? Like, what kind of things do you love? Are you a dog mum? Find those hashtags and really look into them. You want to find hashtags that are between 1,000 and 100,000 people following a hashtag, which when you go to write a hashtag in your post, it will typically come up. That's where you want to be with kind of where your accounts are right now. And don't always use the same hashtags. If you copy and paste a hashtag set every time you post, Instagram thinks you're a robot, which will shadow ban you. So just be careful on that. But make sure that you use 29 hashtags and that you add a location to your post, okay? Because when you add a location, it might not necessarily be your exact like. So I'm in Henley-on-Thames, and that's quite a small population. So I'll always put London. I often put London. But if you're close to a big city, like a northern city or whatever it might be, put that, because that's going to really help find more people in your location interested in those hashtags. And also, this is another thing, if Instagram recognizes the pixelated images from where they've been taken. So say like I've got a photo from America from when I've been on one of the trips and I post it as London, UK, it automatically affects the engagement because I'm not being true to the location of where the photo was taken. So it wants to be roughly in the vicinity. And then really just And I know I said this last week, just make sure that you are talking to the camera on your stories at least 5 times a day, like 5 15-second clips, okay? And I know that can be really, really hard. And when I was a new coach, I certainly was like, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to do this. This is terrifying. Like, I just look awful on camera. Like, I mean, who wants to hear what I've got to say? You know, and these are all things that you're going to tell yourself. But the thing is that if you don't get in front of that camera, it's going to take you a lot longer to build connection. And so if you go into my stories, you'll see I'm in front of the camera quite a lot, right? What I'm doing is I'm building connection as much as I can. The more people see me on the video, the quicker I've built a connection with them. I've built trust with them because they're watching me in my videos. And that's the closest to being face to face with them. So that's why you'll see a lot of me video chatting. And yeah, I'm talking about like having a great workout, MBF's launching. Of course, I want to talk about that. But I also want to let people in, like, my son went into nursery earlier and he walked right in, and I was really relieved because I've been really worried about it. And actually it's great for me because I can get my stuff done, and I've realized that he needs it too. And so I'm sharing that because fellow mums are going, oh, I can really relate to that, you know? So, and also, like, I don't want to just be known for being Fitness Izzy, right? Like, I want to be known for being a mum who also wants to have a career. That's my person, right? My person is a mum generally who also wants to have a career, or it's somebody who isn't a mum but has got like ambition, and maybe doesn't want to be stuck in their corporate job, which is hence why I talk about that story a lot as well. So really think about that, you know, lifestyle intertwined with fitness, your challenge group, your superfood, your nutrition, and then maybe you went for a walk, maybe you went to the market. That makes for really interesting watching. So if you can kind of think about it, this and then that, this and then that, like quote and then visual, you know. And I don't want to overwhelm you guys, but just look at your stories, like, you know, and you can look at mine. I'll often have like video and then I'm like, oh, I want to break it up with something else, so I'll put a quote in, which is definitely a relevant quote that I've looked at that day, right? You want to be educating, motivating, or empowering people when you are posting, okay? So if it's not doing one of those things, why are you posting it? Okay. So like for me, and this is definitely something I did as a new coach, would be like, you know, like maybe 1 in 7, it doesn't need to do that. But you know, I would post a lot of like self-care Saturday, went on a walk, da, da, da. And I've added no value because I'm like, okay, cool, I've gone on a walk, but what's that doing? Like, how can you educate someone on that? Like, it would be, I've gone on a walk and I find this really like really helpful for me to break up my week. And I find that when I come back, I'm so much more energized and I'm able to be a better mother, whatever it might be. Why don't you give it a try? Right. So you're educating instead of just giving a, you know, you want to remember that every single post is ideally helping somebody in some way. Okay. That's what we're here for. We want to help somebody. It could be, you know, like my 5 tips for my morning routine. Like you guys are new coaches. Hopefully you've got some form of new, that's a great thing to do. Because that's educating and inspiring, right? So just think about that when you're posting. And make sure, guys, with your social media that you are building connections every day. And this is, again, this is like, I just want to save you from some pitfalls that new coaches can make. And certainly I made them. And that is, you're like, woohoo, I've hit Success Club. Oh, woohoo, I've hit it again. And it's, you know, and for me, for my first few months, it was all friends and family. And yeah, damn it, I was terrified of reaching out to those 100 people, but I did it and I hit Success Club with it, right? And I did that, and I got kind of so riding high on that wave of, oh, this is like awesome, I can do this, that I wasn't building connections every day. I wasn't following new people every day. I wasn't commenting on people's posts, and I wasn't engaging with my kind of people. And so I remember my coach Mackenzie saying, Izzy, you like building new connections every day. And I was like, yeah, like, well, not every day, but you know, I'm doing it. And she was like, be careful because you'll run out of people to invite. Well, that's what happened. And my 3rd month, I literally scrabbled for Success Club. I got my father-in-law signed up. So I was like, I'm going to get this free summit ticket if I hit Success Club, and I'm not going to hit it. And he was like, oh, okay, he just signed up. So just don't run out of people to invite. And I know, you know, one of the dangers as a new coach can be like, oh, well, I've got all these people and I know they're going to join me, and that person will join me in time because I know her and she's going to do it. And she said she's going to do it. And then we run out and then we're dry for like 2 months, because the cold market takes time to warm up, guys. The cold market takes time to warm up. Okay. And that's why you sharing your journey from right now is so fundamental, because you are at your most inspiring phase, in my opinion, because people can relate to you right now more than ever, because you're just that girl who's just started your fitness journey and you've just got these results and that's all you did, right? For me, that's not true. I've been on my journey for ages and people go, well, that's all right for you. You clearly don't have a problem with me, you know. And so I have to bring them back to my story of I wasn't that girl, so that they can then understand that I've also been there, because people just assume where you are is where you've always been and it's never been a struggle for you, which of course isn't true. But really think about that, and really just, I know those disciplines are really hard in the start. You guys haven't seen much success yet. You haven't seen much income yet. You start to question yourself. This business, as I think I said last week, it's you've got to be all in for a year. You've got to be all in for a year. If you expect to be phenomenally successful and really help change like so many women's lives and have this incredible income and all this, without going all in for a year and knowing that that road's probably going to be bumpy, and getting clear on your vision, then you won't stay the course. And I remember one of the coaches in our global team saying that to me when I was new. And that really stuck in my head on those days where, I'll be honest, there were days where I was like, I just don't think this is for me. This is a lot of hard work and I'm not getting much out of it. And then I just always remember what she said, like, be all in for a year. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to be all in for a year. And I was. And at that year turning point, do you know what I was doing? I was thinking about leaving my fitness instructor classes and my PTs, because I did go all in. And can you imagine if I was like, oh, I don't think this is for me? Like, it's like any new job. You can't expect to be a pro tomorrow, but you have to call yourself out on doing those bits of work that are going to get you there. The other thing that is fundamental as a new coach, and again, I'm pretty certain you guys have heard me talk about this and you'll see me talk about it on the team page, transformations. Your business as a new coach is absolutely built on your transformation, okay? And the reason for that is that, again, people don't trust you yet. It's a new thing. Oh, look, Izzy's doing this new thing. That's going to last 5 minutes. Let's just see what happens. She's telling us it's doing this and it's doing that, but I can't see any proof of it, right? The only way that you can show physical proof of something working, which, let's face it, guys, we're in a fitness and health business, is by showing a physical transformation, okay? And until you start doing that, you won't see success. And I want to be totally honest about that, because that for me in the start, again, was a really big struggle. I know it doesn't look like it now, but I found sharing my transformation really hard. Like, I've always been skinny fat. I hated my midriff. I absolutely hated it. And there I was, like, being told that in the first few weeks I needed to share a transformation. And I was like, I kind of didn't really get why, actually, if I'm being honest. And I did. And that week that I shared that transformation, I enrolled 3 of my friends. Okay. So transformation, I'd say Transformation Tuesday, you can share a transformation on whichever day you want, once a week. And, you know, perhaps that's where you tell your story, right? I started this journey. You might have seen me. I said I was going to let you guys in. This is my first 3 weeks. This is how I felt in the beginning. This is how I feel now. My challenge group starts on X date. Do you want to join me? Okay. That would be an amazing post, because this is where I started, is where they're sitting right now. Like, this is how I felt. That's where they're sitting right now. And now I feel like this. And they're like, damn it. Well, if that was her 3 weeks ago and I can be there in 3 weeks, damn it, sign me up. Yeah. Then and now is so powerful. But if you don't tell people what's going on and how you're feeling, and you're too scared and you're worried that people are going to judge you, I'll tell you, it's never going to work. I want to be honest. You've got to tell people the specific benefits that you felt, not what everybody else in the team has felt. People aren't interested in general, like the same story of the superfoods. People aren't interested that it's got 40 micronutrients in it, or it's got prebiotics, probiotics, adaptogens, phytonutrients. Yeah, I know all of the detail, but quite frankly, what they're interested in is, what's this done for Izzy and her life? Yeah, what's it done for you? Doesn't matter what it's done for me, what's it done for you? And let them in and tell them, and perhaps tell them, you know, once a week when you do your transformation for your transformation for your body, you talk about the different things it's done, so you've got a different story on rotation. That is unbelievably powerful. And that's where you'll find, when you start inviting people and you've got that transformation in your grid, they'll be like, yeah, give me some details, because they're looking at your grid. It's that full circle piece. Okay, cool. She's talking about all of this on the surface, so then the conversation behind the scenes makes sense. But if you're not talking about this all on the surface and then you send messages, they're not going to reply. They're not going to have any idea what you're talking about. We have to basically, it's like learning to spell letters for them. Like, we have to spell it out, okay? And that sounds like, oh, am I ramming it down their throat? Remember, they have no idea what you're doing. And that's why, again, if you're going to invite people, make sure, for goodness sake, in your stories, you've got a workout clip. In your stories, you're talking about your virtual gym. And in your stories, you're sharing a bit of the community. Like, you'll see me screen record the community. That's why you want to be in those, because then when I tag you, it's easy for you. You can just share them, and that's your like bit done for the day. But if you're inviting people and like, I'm getting nothing, but then there's nothing in there that really like paints that whole picture for them, and you then going into your videos and being like, I know I shared this in my transformation post, but I just have to say, my past few weeks have been incredible. I came into this feeling like this, and now I feel like that. Yeah, don't worry about you repeating yourself. Probably someone that's watching your stories is not liking your post anyway. And if they're liking your post and they're watching your stories, they're definitely someone that needs to hear it a second time, because they're going to join you. So I hope that helps. And I think, you know, the other kind of biggest challenge, I think, as a coach, you know, thinking about the start of my journey, is that this isn't a 9 to 5. You don't clock in and clock out. It's not like your boss goes, okay, cool, home for the day, happy weekend, have a couple of 2 great days. And I say this to my husband, like, even now, like, he's massively supportive of what I do. You know, I'm building an incredible future for us. But there are times at the weekend when I work on a Saturday and on a Sunday, okay? And personally, like, this is obviously a big business for me. I lead a global team. I want to be honest, I probably work like 2 or 3 hours each day on my business. I'm not saying that's you, but I think if you want to see success, you've got to understand that you can't just do Monday to Friday and then go, it's the weekend, which is basically the mindset of most people, right? Which is the challenge, because most people are going, so you're working this business now and you haven't earned any money and you're having to do it at the weekends too, you know. So just call yourself out on that. Is that happening to you, and what are you doing? And if so, think about it. Think about what you want this business to be for you, and the fact that those small tiny pockets, and honestly guys, right now for you guys, it's like max 45 minutes of income producing activities you need to do a day. Yes, on a Saturday and Sunday. And I'll say Sunday is one of the most lucrative days. Everybody's eaten too much. They've gone for it on Friday. They've gone for it on Saturday. They've literally had a roast on Sunday, whatever, you know, maybe they've gone for a burger, and they're sitting down on Sunday afternoon feeling like absolute shit. And they're looking at your Instagram, and hopefully you've got some great posts on there. And then you've done all the work, and then on the Sunday, you've not messaged them or followed up, right? Sunday is the day that I just, you know, I nail it. Okay. And my husband knows Sunday for me is a busier day, and that's okay, because that's just the way that my business works. I'm not in a corporate environment anymore, and nor would I want to be. God, I can't imagine. Like I said to my husband the other day, I don't think I could ever work on anyone else's time ever again, because I'd just walk in and be like, no, I'm not going to do it. So, you know, think about the life that you're building. And I know that's really hard to see, but I hope by me sharing what I'm sharing, you guys can see what's down the track if you stay consistent and you get clear on that vision. Because I want to be perfectly honest with you and say your success in this business is whatever you want it to be, as long as you believe you can do it. And that's why the personal development is so fundamental. I came into this not believing in personal development, not actually trying it when I started as a new coach, nearly quitting because I wasn't actually doing it. And my coach saying, you're doing it. And I was like, no. She was like, well, it's never going to work for you if you don't do it. To where it is today. And I'm not saying you've got the same vision of me as me. And probably your vision is just, do you know what? I want to pay for my superfood. I want to have my superfood each month. Right now, that's where I'm at. That's where I was at the first 3 months. But I know, like, hand on heart, if you follow that tracker and you do that social media and you're coachable and you listen to what I have to say and you genuinely do those things I'm telling you to do with fear, yeah, it's going to be really hard. I can promise you, you will see whatever success it is you want to see with this business, whether that's helping transform as many women's lives as possible, whether it's an income goal you have. And I never was of that mindset. I never believed like it's all, you know, that person's just really lucky because she's X, Y, Z. No, it's not. It's because she's been intentional and she believes she can do it. And I was never that girl. And you guys can all do it too. Have you guys got any questions about social media or anything at all? Like how I make initial conversations? Do you want me to go through that? Is there anything that you guys just do? Like, I'm here to help you guys. So if there's anything you want any help on, so if there's a fly that's flown in.
Yeah, I've got a question. So when you connect with somebody, I actually went back and looked at our first connection. So when you messaged me and kind of how you worked it that way. So you message somebody and you kind of sparking up a conversation about their lives. You're not kind of going straight in with the business or straight in with the coaching, are you? How many connections until you then do the invite or you mention it?
So usually this is exactly how I do my my business. This is exactly how I do it, okay? So every single day I go through this tracker, okay? Every single day I go to the first thing I do, I'm just going to tell you, why not? I'll just tell you exactly what I do. I get up, I have a coffee, okay? I don't look at my phone. I do not look at my phone as soon as I wake up. It's pouring into me first before I try and pour into others, okay? And that is a fundamental for this business. Then I come upstairs, I write out my affirmations, goals, and gratitude every morning. It takes me about 5 minutes. Listen to my meditation, do my personal development, and then I sit down. I log into my coach office. This isn't something you guys need to do yet, but I check every day because, of course, things can change in my business. And then I go in, and the two things that I do first thing is reply to messages, okay, that I've got in my inbox, and I track those, okay. And then I look at who has followed me since yesterday, okay? So I go into my follower list, and if you just go into your follower list, you'll find the ones on the top are the ones that have most recently followed you. I write down anyone's handle who I think I want to invite, okay? And I write them down. I have literally just have this simple, right? This looks a complete mess because it's the end of the month and I'm going crazy for follow-ups, okay? So don't freak out. But this is like the busiest day in my whole month. This is like the handles, okay? So it's messy. I'm left-handed, but it makes sense to me, right? It doesn't need to be neat. They're all the people that I will send an initial message to. And I'll send a message, and probably I was trying to get up the message I sent you, but I can almost guarantee it was one of these two things because it's all I ever do. Hey, thank you so much for following me. I really appreciate it. I love your page, or your little boy's really cute, or if they've got a dog, love your dog, whatever it might be. How long have you been on your fitness journey? Or are you on a fitness journey too? If it's not obvious they are. Izzy. And then I'll see if they reply. If they reply, I'll have a bit of a conversation, okay? And I won't invite in that conversation because I know I've got it tracked, right? I know I've got it tracked to invite them. If they don't reply, I've still got it tracked. And usually 9 times out of 10, the next day I'm going to invite them, whether or not they've replied. Okay. So sometimes that invite is going to be built into conversation. Otherwise it's going to just be really weird to just like slap an invite in the middle of a conversation. So you've got to like tailor it. But I always do that. And in the start, do you know what I did? And this might be you. I would get like down a rabbit hole because I would be too afraid to invite them. I'd get down a rabbit hole about something. And then I'd be like, holy shit, how do I invite these people now? Like, I'm so down a rabbit hole. It's too weird to invite them. Because I would be like, where are you from? Oh, that's great. Oh, I love it there too. And like, we'd have this whole conversation. And actually it wasn't fitness related, which was a bit of an issue. And then I'd be like, do you want to join my challenge group? And people would be like, well, I just got ghosted. I mean, it's just cringe. Like, we all go through periods like that. So, you know, I would encourage you to put, are you on a fitness journey too? Or how long have you been on your fitness journey? Because then when you make the invite, they're kind of knowing that you want to talk about fitness. So it's not like, where do you live? Oh, great. Do you want to join my challenge group? It's just weird. So that's how I do it. And it's the same story for then I'll go to the next section. When I've done my workout and everything else, I then go to like the main body of the tracker, respond to all new likes, comments, or views. Okay. That's where I get my next little list of names. Okay. So I've got this notepad out all day. I go to everybody that's liked my post. Okay, I'll like it back. I'll look at their profile. And actually, I do this every day. I'll look at it and be like, oh, okay, that person I'd followed up with and they haven't replied to me, but now they've liked my thing. I'm going to send them another message. Okay, so that's a good way to track follow-ups because obviously people liking your stuff or watching your stories are definitely interested. But again, new connections on those, exactly the same. Hey, thanks so much for liking my post, watching my story. I really appreciate it. Are you on a fitness journey too? How long have you been on your fitness journey? Down goes the name. Okay. And literally, I don't give it much more thought than that, Gail. The next day, from all of those people, then I'll go to the story watchers, write down their handles, send them a message. The next day, they're going to get an invite. Okay, and the reason why I do that, and I'll be honest, like I'm over 2 years down the track, is that if I don't do that, I will literally procrastinate over inviting them. I'll forget to invite them because I'm so busy having like this friendly conversation. But that makes me do it, right? The next day, I scroll back a page and I'm like, okay, cool. Bam, 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 bam. And that's why my invites take me. Okay, so every day I follow 50 people, and I want to be honest about what kind of, like, then how many new people I have to engage off that number, just so that you guys can get a gauge. I then have roughly 20 to 25 people to invite every single day off me following 50 people. Okay, and bear in mind, your Instagram does not need to be perfect, pretty, polished at this stage. You are new coaches, you're finding your feet. As long as you're true to who you are and it aesthetically looks pleasing, and that is important, guys. Your Instagram needs to be bright. People need to see your face. Okay, this is another point, sorry, just whilst I'm talking about engagement and having the number of people to invite. If your profile doesn't look like it pops when people go into it, they're not going to follow you back, they're not going to like your stuff, and they're not going to watch your stories. And then lo and behold, you're not going to have anyone to invite. So really, like, call yourself out on that piece too. That was something I meant to mention earlier on, but it's just, I've come back to it this way around. If your page, it does not color pop, and you've kind of gone, oh, I haven't got much time to do this, so I'll just do this, this, and this, and you post it, there's honestly no point posting. Think about your picture as trying to capture the eye. And I'm not expecting you to be like some dreamy photographer tomorrow, but I'll tell you, that was not my strong point. And I know people look at my social media now and would say, like, I don't ever believe that because Izzy's Instagram looks really polished. And I know it does, because I want it to reflect my brand. My husband rarely takes photos of me. I have a photo timer app. I literally make sure that my screen is clean. Sounds super basic, but if you have a cloudy screen, it's often because you haven't cleaned the screen. And I make sure I get into the light. I have a light ring. This light ring cost me about 50 quid. I ordered it off Amazon, but often for my photos, I don't use it. And I tell you, when I'm out and about and I'm with my family, I might say to Guy, hey, can you quickly just get this photo? Okay. And that's 9 times out of 10, he hasn't taken a photo. But if I've got a photo that's me in a landscape, Guy's taken 2 minutes. He just takes a few. And often he'll get like 7 of me doing exactly the same thing, and I look absolutely bloody awful. But, you know, that's where I work my Instagram profile from. So just know that this is built into family life. Like when we were down at the river at the weekend, Saturday is typically my day where I do way more with the family. I made sure that I got some photos because that's my content. And you'll see, like, if you look at my grid, oh, Izzy's posted 2 of her and that, because I'm building it in. So it doesn't have to be some crazy, like, I rarely have a day where I have to take a photo to do a post because I've got a bank built now. So it's, you know, like today I just scrolled back to the leadership conference, and I know you guys don't have that, but I didn't in the beginning. And actually I probably did take more photos in the beginning, and I just made sure to get into the light. Remember, like with your stories, with your Instagram posts, the way that you build connection is through people seeing your face. Okay, so when people go into my grid and they see my face in pretty much every photo, it's not because I'm vain, it's because I'm trying to build connection with people. And I know if I get in front of a bright light and people can see my face, the more times I can do that, the more I built a connection. So sorry, I completely digressed on what you asked me, Gail, but actually it led me quite nicely on.
That's all right. There was just one thing I was going to follow up on that. If you are ghosted, so if somebody completely ignores you, then what's your action on that?
After the invite?
Yes, so you've invited and they've ghosted you.
So I will schedule. I use Google Streak, but you could use just Excel for now, guys. I would encourage you to get onto a digital form of tracking as quickly as you can. So Excel for you guys is perfectly fine. I will literally diarize to follow up with them in 2 weeks and say, hey, I know I didn't hear back from you, but was this of interest? Yeah. And I want to be perfectly honest, I don't do that anymore because my tracking system is so huge that I don't need to, and I don't have time to do that. But when I was new, you better bet every single person that had an invite, whether or not they replied, they got a follow-up message from me within 2 weeks, because that was how I built my cold market. That was how I built, you know, and I don't have time for that with everything else that I'm doing now. And I've got the, you know, I've got a lot of people that I'm tracking already, so I don't need to. But for you as new coaches, definitely track those invites. You know, and that might be that you're using pen and paper and you've got a day per page, and then you can go back, can't you, 2 weeks from the date and find those people and follow up with them. That could be a good way of doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, like it is a numbers game. I get that completely. But for you, so you're going to follow 50 people per day. You end up inviting 25. How many out of them 25 would you say you're successful with? What percentage or is?
Gosh, 0.5%.
Right.
I haven't looked at the percentages. I just know that I don't look at it like that. I look at it as, if I do that every day, I'm going to hit around Success Club 30 to 40 a month.
Right.
You know, this is a numbers game. And that's why the fundamental of this business is, yes, building connection. Building connection is really important. And obviously, if you've had, like Gail and I connected and I had a conversation with her, and that was genuine. And I want to make genuine connections with people. I want to have genuine conversations because I want people in my groups who I genuinely connect with, who are my people. But there's also going to be an element of people who are your people, but they're not going to reply. And you don't know whether or not they're your people, but they are your people because then they reply eventually. So that's kind of how I do it. And I very much try to build that connection. And yeah, if I've sent that initial message and they say like, no, I'm not on a fitness journey, or I am, and then I'll say like, oh, what sort of workouts are you doing? Have you got any goals you're working towards? How have you found it in lockdown? That's another one I ask. So I do try and have a conversation. I want to understand where they're at and what they're doing, because I want to genuinely understand whether or not I've got a solution that can help them, which for the most part we do, right? Someone wants to lose weight, we've got the solution. Someone wants to gain weight, we've got the solution. Someone wants to tone up, we've got the solution. Someone doesn't have time, we've got the solution. Someone doesn't have money, we've actually got the solution, because the gym's way more expensive. So I want to know what their struggles are. And if I can build that connection, have that conversation, then when I invite them and they say no, and I say, do you mind me asking why? I can then understand why I know I've got the solution for them. And if I haven't had that conversation, they're like, yeah, I'd like to learn more, but I haven't had that conversation. It's much harder for me to understand why actually I've got the solution for them, because I haven't had that conversation. So ideally, I'm going to start a conversation first before I'm going to invite, but I will invite everybody. Hopefully that makes sense. And it's way nicer to invite someone who you've actually had a conversation with, because you've understood each other. We're humans, we like to connect. Does anyone have any other questions? And I would just encourage you with your social media to think about what colors represent you. How do you want your Instagram to look? What kind of profile do you like? Whose profile do you like? Why do you like it? That's the kind of place that you're going to find your sort of branding. Yeah, and I'm not saying it has to be super polished tomorrow, because it won't be, and it's a journey. That's the joy and beauty of this business. Your like fitness is a journey, your mindset is a journey, your social media is a journey, and we're all on that journey all of the time. I'm on that journey, I'll be on that journey forever. And that's what I love, and you should love it too. Embrace it, because you'll look back at your social media and like years to come be like, wow, can't believe I started there.
Do you use a Lightroom or like a light filter?
I use Snapseed. So Snapseed, I don't know if you guys can see that little one there with the green leaf. It says Snapseed. And I don't use Lightroom. And I don't use Lightroom because I genuinely don't like to have the same setting on every single picture. The UK is like, particularly, it's like the weather's different, the summer inside and the shots are dark. Generally, I lighten them in the same way. Like I like to spotlight my face, because I want people to see my face. There's a face spotlight thing. I like to brighten it, and I use HDRscape. So you can write that one down. HDRscape's really good for bringing you into the foreground and dulling out the background. And the other one I use in Snapseed is Drama. And you're probably thinking, oh my goodness, this sounds like so much. And initially it is, you're like, I'm never going to do that. Like looking at the app when I opened it, I was like, whoa, there's so many settings. I didn't even know what these are. But like anything, it's like doing your stories. Once you get used to it, it takes you 5 seconds. You just put your photo in, you know how you're going to brighten it. And probably 30 seconds later, I've got my photo ready to go and I've exported it. So yeah, to start with, this stuff's a bit ugly and time consuming. And you're thinking to yourself, oh, how the hell am I ever going to be a successful Beachbody coach? This is all right. It takes so long. But actually it won't. Once you're up to speed with it, it really doesn't. And also you can like, just think about where you like your time hacks. Like if I'm in the car and we're on the way to like, I don't know, to the river at the weekend, that's when maybe I'll edit a photo, because we're just in the car chatting and I can fully chat, but I'm just editing a photo. It takes 5 seconds. So finding little time hacks is everything, because I don't want to waste time sitting and listening to personal development. No thanks. I'll listen to that as I'm like bumbling around the house making my coffee or I'm getting dressed. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. And how are we feeling about our challenge groups? What dates are they all starting?
Mine all started today. It was day one.
Or was it? How did
Yeah,
you miss that? That was so fast.
yeah. So
No wonder you've got so many people enrolled.
just thought, why not? Just do it. So I've got 4 people in it, and me. So there's 5 of us at the moment.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And how have you found it? Have you done a prep week or you gone full swing?
We did prep week last week and we got people signed up. And my last person I signed up on Saturday night. So she hasn't got a Shakeology yet, but she's getting it tomorrow actually.
Wow.
But yeah, they all completed day one of 21 Day Fix, and I've got one lady doing 10 rounds in there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It literally feels like yesterday that you started as a challenger.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm like, how have I missed prep week?
Mad. Yeah.
And I
But I
think guys
think
like this, sorry, you go on.
it's just exactly what you said. I shared those transformation pictures and oh my god, it was unbelievable,
Yeah.
the response that I had. So yeah, it's so true. Yeah, you've got
And I think guys, like I know it, comparison as a new coach is one of the biggest dangers we have, because we look at someone else and we go, oh, how's that person doing so well? Oh, it's so depressing. And I've been that girl, right? I'll admit that. I was in a group of like American and Canadian coaches as the only British coach. And I do think the British market is slightly harder. That's why I like approach Canadians and Americans as well. I like to have a global team, but I think we're just naturally more skeptical, I'll be honest. And I would look at all these coaches hitting like Success Club 12 and I was like, oh, how are you doing it? And it just would drive me mad. But actually focus on your own journey. And remember, Gail's amazing to have in this group actually, because she's done the program, she's got the transformation, she's shared a transformation, and she's set up a challenge group. So hopefully that gives you real confidence that actually if you follow that, and this is exactly what the girls in the May group did, they followed exactly that and they saw amazing success as well. So get excited about it. And MBF, have any of you tried the sample? No. Oh, you did.
I did.
How did you find it?
I loved it. There was like a great mix of everything. So I'm looking forward to getting the bod ropes and to actually doing the full thing.
I know. The bod ropes. I must admit, like I loved the moves, but I was like, I can really imagine this with like a weighted rope. And then do you know what else I was thinking? My 4-year-old son is going to be walking around the house trying to hit the dogs with it. For sure. I'm going to have to hide it. I've already worked out.
Yeah, they could be weapons for sure.
I might have to get my workout in at 4 a.m. so he doesn't even know they exist. Like, honestly, it's going to be a nightmare. Anyway, I've got that coach group starting on the 7th of July, which is going to be like a coach test group for anyone moving through that program. And it launches for customers on the 28th. And guys, if you're doing the 21 Day Fix again, don't worry, because I will launch another group on the 28th. And also, like if you want to do one on the 28th when customers can also purchase it, you can definitely do your own. But just know, like if you're not starting it on the 7th with a lot of other coaches, don't worry about it. Yeah.
So we can order that on the 7th.
Yeah.
So we won't actually get the bod ropes and all of the stuff probably for the first little bit.
That's the only thing that I'm like, number one, I would have loved the bod ropes for the sample. And number two, I don't know, maybe the first few workouts don't need bod ropes. You'd hope they thought about it, but yeah, let's see. Cool. Has anyone got any other questions or concerns, or please fire away? But do lean into this group. Like it's nice to have everybody here to support one another. And, that's what these communities are built on. So definitely lean in. I can promise you it will serve you so well. Okay, I'm going to stop recording.